there's no video evidence of what hit the Pentagon.
Well, there's a video of something. I know there was one hidden camera thing or security camera video that was released. But what they did have is all sorts of pieces of aircraft all over the fucking lawn.
Yeah.
I mean, in a blown up building and a plane that's missing and all the people dead. Like, I'm going to guess it was a plane.
Yeah.
You know, I think people look for conspiracies and everything because it's exciting.
Well,
There's something
I mean,
stimulating about it.
There is, but then obviously, I know that you don't believe that everything we're told is the truth right away, right? I mean, if we go to something like Gulf of Tonkin incident, right? I mean, that's been proven to be false, or the fact like the banana republics, right, where Dole asked us to go take out one of their dictators because they were going to nationalize all the banana plants in that country. Yeah. I mean, those things have been now proven to be totally factual, that the United States government went and did that stuff. So the fact that, and, you know, in 1960s or 70s, those things were reported the opposite, right? So we can't obviously take everything that we've been reported as truth.
Well, there's definitely been conspiracies that have been put together and executed. And these conspiracies have greatly affected the American people. The Gulf of Tonkin's a perfect example. Another one that they were planning on was Operation Northwoods. Yes. Operation Northwoods was one that they were planning on blowing up a drone jetliner, blaming it on the Cubans. They were going to arm Cuban friendlies and have them attack Guantanamo Bay. They were going to sacrifice American troops and American lives. And they were going to do this in order to get people to be excited about a war with Cuba. This is a real thing that was signed by the Joint Chiefs of Staff. It was released by the Freedom of Information Act, and it was vetoed by Kennedy. So we know that there were people, at least in 1962, that were planning on shit like this. Yeah. So that's a real thing. And the idea that that just went away and no one does that anymore.
It's crazy.
I don't believe that. I think there's most certainly evil people in all fucking sectors of life.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's good to have an open mind, but there's also a lot of fucking conspiracy loons that look for...
And they get consumed with it. That's the issue. They get consumed with nothing that I've been told is true. Yeah. Which is obviously, like I said, the one far end of the spectrum. And anyone who's that end is crazy also.
Yeah, there's people out there that think the satellites are fake. And they think that
the moon landing one
were not real.
And then the Earth is flat is the ones where I just shake my head like...
The moon landing one's my favorite.
Really?
I got balls deep in that for years. I was completely
So you
convinced.
think they did not go to the moon?
No, I don't think that anymore. Okay. But you know what I think now? I think I don't know. Okay. But I do think that it is one of the more fascinating conspiracies that between 1969 and 1972, they had seven attempts, 6 of them successful. Well, they went to the Apollo 13 was the one that they didn't apparently make it, and they had to come back. But that was the only time in history that a human being has been more than 400 miles above the Earth's surface. All the space station missions, all the space shuttle missions, all that stuff is
within orbit.
Yeah, it's low. It's all very low. They went 260,000 miles out and back into deep space, but they had never even flown a chicken out there and see if it comes back alive. Like, we really didn't.
Really?
Yeah, no.
I'm not into the space travel one. So
I mean, they did a couple of flybys, like that went around the moon, you know, early before they landed on the moon. Yeah. But other than that, I mean, without unmanned drones like what we have on Mars and things like that, we've never really sent a living thing out through the magnetosphere, through the Van Allen radiation belts, into deep space. Have it, you know, I mean, there's all these possibilities of solar flares and anything that would have killed them instantly. And they just did that. And then we haven't been able to do that since 1972.
That's the one where I've never looked into the moon landing. I think it's kind of goofy, right?
Well, it's weird. It's a weird one.
Why have we never gone back? It's been 50. Surely our technology is far superior to what it was in 1969, right?
The technology is far superior, except that they're not using that technology for manned space travel into, you know, deep space like that and to go into the moon. So it's like our technology in all these other areas is superior, but they haven't really worked towards that because they haven't been funded. So the big issue is, in many ways, it's money. Right? It's there's how much money is there in going to the moon, and it's also very risky to send humans out there. I mean, we're talking about manned missions to Mars now, which may or may not take place by 2030. They're talking about doing that, but it's way cheaper and safer to send robots out there. Like, why risk human lives? It's
they put robots
retro.
on the moon, right? And they put robots on Mars.
Yeah.
The rovers.
The rovers on Mars are that's the most interesting because they're sending these really high resolution photos of the surface of Mars, and they're running tests and checking for biological life. It's really, really interesting stuff. But between 69 and 72, when they did all this stuff, I mean, there's the technology back then was nothing compared to what they have now in terms of calculations and computers, and it's also there's unquestionably some stuff that, whether it was images or video, that was faked. And I think...
Really?
Yeah.
So, like I said, I never looked into this at all.
Gemini 15 is the big one, because there's a photo of Michael Collins. It shows him in deep space, and they use it as a press release saying that he was on a spacewalk, when it was really an image of him from a test run where there was all this stuff in the background, and he was on this harness, and they just blacked out the background and tried to sell it as him being in space. See if you find that. Michael Collins, what do you...
I was looking up how much it costs to send somebody to space.
Oh, it's insane.
$70 million
there's these
70 million
for a NASA astronaut to fly on a Russian shuttle.
Well, there's all
Jeff
these
Bezos.
private guys trying to sell tickets to places. I mean, Bezos is trying to do it. Musk, obviously.
But that's space. That's just low Earth orbit. That's still inside 400 miles.
None of them are trying to go anywhere?
No. Well, they might in the future.
Well, Branson.
Well, I think that's all same thing. It's all low Earth orbit. But they are talking about future visits to the moon and to Mars. But a lot of times I feel like when they say that, George Bush Sr. said that they were going to go to the moon, back to the moon again. In like fucking, when was that? 1990 or whatever the hell that was? People have always said we're going to go back to the moon, but we haven't been back since 1972. Does that mean that we never went? No. But then it gets weird when you find out that Wernher von Braun was a fucking Nazi.
Who?
Wernher von Braun, the guy he was the head of NASA. He was the guy who organized the moon landings, and he was the head rocket guy. That guy was a legit Nazi. Like, he was wanted by the Simon Wiesenthal Center said that if he was alive today, they would prosecute him for crimes against humanity. They would hang the 5 slowest workers every day in front of his Berlin rocket factory. Oh yeah. No, 100%. I mean, that's what they did. What they did was they took this thing, it was called Operation Paperclip, where when we won World War II, they took all the top Nazi scientists and they secretly brought them over to America. And they did it on the down low so that no one would think like, hey, why do we have a guy named Wernher von Braun running the American space program? Well, it's because the Nazi scientists were insanely advanced. So the question is like, well, were they really Nazis, or were they scientists that were under the boot of the Nazi administration? I mean, well, I don't know. I mean, I'm not around then.
Yeah.
But I do know that these are the people that were the head engineers and the people that designed it. Wernher von Braun himself was saying how impossible it was, just years before they did the moon landing and years before Operation Paperclip, that it was impossible to go to the moon, or how ridiculously impossible it would be. But technology advanced from then to when 1969 happened to when they did it. I stopped saying that we never went to the moon because I really don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. And that's a big part of understanding these conspiracies.
It's like, hard.
You have to really know, how much do I know about rocketry? How much do I know about aerospace? Zero.
Yeah.
So if I'm running around saying I don't believe people went to the moon, what is it based on? It's based mostly on ignorance, speculation, and the excited feeling that comes with trying to uncover a conspiracy.
Sure, but I think you do have to be a little bit discerning on what you hear, but it is frustrating, and that's where a lot of these conspiracy guys they think they know more than they do, because you have to come to the realization that you're probably never going to know the real answer with a lot of these things. Very likely. I mean, some of them come out many years later. We're talking about like Gulf of Tonkin, right, or Operation Northwoods. Many years later, it comes out. But there's a good likelihood that I'll never know the truth on stuff I read a lot about.
I think with the moon landing, it's way more likely that we went to the moon, but that some of the footage is fake. And I think they probably did that because it's incredibly difficult to film things on the moon. And I think they filmed some stuff in test runs and then tried to pass that stuff off.
Should have brought their iPhone.
They didn't have it back then. They had these cameras that they had in the center of their chest. I think
what if they would have been taking a selfie on the moon?
Yeah, the
Snapchatting it.
You'd have to take your suit off and then you would die. They didn't have a camera that you could put in front of you.
Well, maybe they have one of those clicker buttons they could have with their big gloves on, and they put the thing out and then they click it, and then boom, Snapchat, Wi-Fi on the moon.
Well, that's what they said. Well, it was that they did it remotely. That's how they captured the video of the lunar module leaving the surface of the moon and panned up and watched it go. That they did all that remotely. It's all There's some squirrely footage. You ever see the video of them jumping around? It looks like they're on trampolines.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Like they're just bouncing straight up in the air. You're like, well, what the fuck is that? How come the physics are different in different flights? Like in some of the flights, like Apollo 11, they're barely getting off the ground.
Isn't it one where they're walking, but they're kind of going,
yeah,
like that?
Well, there's ones like that, and then there's also ones where they fall down. It looks like they're getting yanked up by wires. I think it's entirely possible that some of that stuff was faked.
Huh.
But I think it's way more likely that they actually went to the moon than they didn't. But it's way sexier to think that they faked the whole thing. It's fun. It's fun to think they faked the whole thing. That everybody was quiet about it, and Neil Armstrong gave this real cryptic speech on the 25th anniversary of the moon mission, saying that there are hidden truths. What is the exact quote that he said? Some of the great truths that could be revealed, removing some of truth's hidden layers. Like
so what if he was giving it away?
It was real cryptic. It was like, what do you? Let's see if you can find it.
I got the video.
Play the video.
He might have been giving it away.
Well, it seemed if you were a conspiracy theory, this would give you a rock hard boner. Because listen to this.
Neil Armstrong made a rare public appearance. Next generation of taxpayers.
We have no. Just play the whole thing so you don't confuse everybody.
In 1994, Neil Armstrong made a rare public appearance and held back tears as he spoke these brief cryptic remarks before the next generation of taxpayers as they toured the White House.
Today we have with us a group of students among America's best. To you, we say, we have only completed a beginning. We leave you much that is undone. There are great ideas undiscovered, breakthroughs available to those who can remove one of truth's protective layers.
What the fuck does that mean? I mean, you're supposed to say, yo, I went to the moon, bitch. You're not supposed to say breakthroughs that
maybe he's giving it away.
Truth protective layers. Like, I don't even understand what that means. The press conference is one of the more fascinating things. If you watch the press conference, again, I was balls deep in this stuff for years. The press conference from 1969 when they returned from the moon is one of the most cryptic, weird things you'll ever see. These guys look like they just stole something and they're being questioned. I've never seen a video where people look like they're more full of shit than that video of the press conference from 1969. It's weird, man. It's weird. They're like fidgety and looking nervous, like they're getting away with something.
So they didn't do it then?
They might have done it. They might have been forced to say some things that they didn't want to say, and that could be part of it.
Absolutely.
They could have done it. But there's a lot of weirdness with the moon landing. It's if you wanted to have like a conspiracy to wrap your head around that's exciting, it's one of the best ones.
Really, but who benefits from it?
The United States government did because it showed military superiority over the Russians, so we were able to do that.
Sure.
It also, it was the Nixon administration. People were just flat out full of shit.
Well, yeah.
I mean, they were just lying to people left and right back then.
That's government, though.
Yeah, but even more so then because it was unchecked. There was no media.
Social media.
Yeah, there's nothing that would expose them for this. And this stuff, they would air it on TV once in 1969. You never see it again unless you watched it on film. There's no YouTube where you can go back and watch the astronauts on trampolines video. That's my favorite one. You watch that and you go, what in the fuck is happening there? These guys are bouncing up in the air. Like, how are they doing that? Like, they never did. If you watch Apollo 11 when they were moving around on the surface of the moon, it's just like they're moving in slow motion. And then you go to whatever it was, like Apollo 14 or 15 when they were doing the trampoline thing. They're just fucking flying through the air. Have you seen it?
I've not. I know. I've never gotten to the moon thing. The flat Earth thing is ridiculous.
Watch this. And like their feet are hidden. Look at this. Watch these guys bounce up in the air. It's like they're on some sort of wire, like they're being yanked up into the air.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what the fuck are they doing? And they're playing, like falling down, and it's very weird. But it could have been that they were really on the moon, and these guys were fucking cowboys and yahoos, and they wanted to bounce around.
Oh, you were posting those videos.
Yeah, I posted
those
videos back in the day. Yeah, I had a debate on Penn Jillette's radio show with a guy who's an astronomer, And he wasn't willing to admit a lot of stuff that was a fact, like the fact that Werner von Braun was a Nazi.
Well, why does the flag look so still there?
Well, the flag had a wire, first of all, on the top of it that stiffened it up to make it. But there's videos of the flag moving in a non-existent breeze, which is weird too. And they try to make some logical explanations for why the flag could be moving in a vacuum, and some of it makes sense, but some of it doesn't. Like the wires one is weird. If you watch them fall down, like go to that one right there, Jamie. If you watch, like sometimes they're falling down, and when they're falling down, it looks like they get yanked back up. But I think it might not have been real footage. What they might have done is use some test footage, like right there, Jamie, right there. Let it go. Like homeboy falls down, and then it looks like he gets yanked back up. Look at this. Whoops.
Oh, he did not. That's not him standing up.
Yeah, what is this?
That's not him standing up. You can't stand up like that.
Right, but you're on the moon. Okay, so you realize you're in 1/6 Earth's gravity.
But there was nothing to make him go like this.
Exactly.
Right? You can't get up without.
Exactly.
Now we go back to MMA because that's what these freaking folk style wrestling's the next generation of MMA. Because you have to turn to your base to get up. You can't look at. There's nothing on the ground. How's he going to get the momentum?
He's getting yanked up. Like he would have super abs. He would have to be like a breakdancer.
No, you can't because. Okay, maybe a breakdancer. Maybe a breakdancer. But you can't get up without putting a base down, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really weird.
It's
I never saw
weird.
it.
Watch it again. Watch him get yanked up.
Yeah, he's got no base.
Yeah.
It almost seems like that little piece is played in reverse.
Well,
Yeah,
it almost does. Yeah, it almost does.
Yeah, that he couldn't stand up like that.
But the thing falls down right afterwards, so it wasn't in reverse. I think it's entirely possible that some of the footage was bullshit. But it doesn't mean that they didn't go to the moon.
Yeah.
It means that overzealous people in
and he only had one
press...
foot on the ground there, too.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that's true. Look at this. Watch.
So he stood up like...
Look at that. It's ridiculous.
He can't do it.
What? His right foot's down, his left foot's up, and he just goes straight up in the air. It is crazy.
That's fake.
But I've never been in 1/6 Earth's gravity, and neither of you.
No,
so maybe it's
Joe,
easier
it's
to
fake,
do.
Dude. Can't stand up like that.
You think that's fake?
That
Ben
video
Askren says we never went to the moon.
I said that video is fake.
No, the video is real. That's from television.
Okay. The video, that guy standing up like that, he got help somehow.
Yeah, well,
you can't stand up like that.
Very well, he could have been on wires. It could have been that they were using that to simulate what it would be like. Because they definitely filmed a lot of simulations. They did a lot of that because they wanted to prepare the astronauts. It's entirely possible that some of those simulations got passed off as being an actual video of them on the moon.
Sure.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Or they faked the whole fucking thing. I wasn't there.
So,
I don't know.
so
I was only
actually,